As moon rises, the sun slips sight. Begins the ritual of this night. For those convinced their path is right. Gathered from north, south, east and west, yet called at another's behest, those treading the path that is left. From near and far, come as you are to this place and embrace this space as darker hue embraces you. Of water, spirit, earth and fire, confessing the sins of empire, we come with our wounds and desire. Sensing that we are not alone, drawn to the flame that guides us home, for here you, me and yet to be. Importance and signs of these times, for the sake of all those maligned, is yet the home of the divine. Hear the crowd as we roar. See the eagle it soars. Wind and rain refresh once more. From fear, hope redefined, we will not be denied. For are we yet alive? The threefold name and rekindle the flame. Faith, hope and love they remain. The song shall stay the same. Like it's all gone too, shall we be downcast too? Or stand shield to shield, together in the field? We refuse to yield. Steadfastly holding the line, for love wins in eternity's time. We keep pressing forward until the last, and our crash shall be forever intact. In it. Hello. Don't know what happened there. The internet gods decided I was not allowed, which is probably good. Welcome.
if you are joining us now in real time or in the future, which is now this past. If you've got your DeLorean fired up and ready to go, brilliant. Thank you for being here. Hope you're all right. Love to hear what's been cool for you, but maybe too, there have been things that have been heavy and not in a cool metal way, and a chance to acknowledge some of that, just kind of get it out of ourselves a bit, and that can be helpful. Love to hear from you, whether it's cool stuff or difficult stuff, or just keep nodding along to the support band, and it's all right. Just how you doing? Love to find out. So please do share in a comment on YouTube or Facebook.
As the light fades from sight, all is lost into darkest night. Sticks and stones, all surrounded to games and thrones. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come please, come and drink my final sorrow. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come lay down that which you sorrow for. Cut deep inside. It has been your truth all this time. Things said and done. What you become. But you can't see through this blackened sun. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come please, come drink my final sorrow. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come lay down that which you sorrow for. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come please, come drink my final sorrow. Mea culpa, maxima culpa. Come lay down that which you sorrow for.
So if there is stuff that it's helpful just to acknowledge, stuff you want to turn away from, stuff that is niggling at you that you regret, stuff that is difficult, and it's going to carry on being difficult, but just to acknowledge the reality of that, and to do so together in a sense of solidarity, the crowd on main stage at Bloodstock or whatever. being together. I invite us to join in these words now.
The principalities and will to power, the worms from within my own darkest hour. I confess all the regrets and the regrets, the burdens and fears, the lament and the tears. I lay them down.
And as we lay down and turn from those things, I believe that the universal force of love, welcome and inclusion comes running out to meet us. No matter how far we feel away from that, or it feels from us, comes running out to meet us, arms open wide, in the person of Jesus of Nazareth, the original long-haired and bearded dude, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, not nearly, even if you don't like, I am maiden, and I will give you rest. May rest and peace and hope and comfort and strength, whatever you need, may it be with you, within you, in this day." And keep on keeping on, good friends. And now, reading from the Bible. What is metal? The Metal Bible. So metal, it's made of paper. Stories and kind of biography and personal experiences shared by people in the rock and metal scene who are also people of faith. So whether you identify it as of gothic subculture, grunge, metal, black metal, power rock, whatever it is, it's for you. So reading this is from the Metal Bible, and this is the good news about Jesus according to John chapter 14, 1-4, and the verses 1 to 14, which is helpful. That's two numbers I can remember. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may also be. And you know the way to the place I'm going. Thomas, who's the guy who, Jesus, after Easter in the story of the resurrection, doesn't believe the accounts from other people who've say they've seen Jesus or seen the empty tomb. He's the guy who says, like a true scientist, which is, empirical evidence, and in a world where we're being told there's fake news and all that, being willing to verify your facts, fair play, Thomas. Wants to put his hand inside, in a sort of very metal horror way, inside the very wounds of Jesus from the crucifixion, and, in his hands where the nails were, well, but it's probably on his wrists, and in the spear hole in his side, where he was kind of stabbed. Jesus was stabbed on the cross to make sure he was dead, just to make sure, Anyway, Thomas says, "Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to me except through. No one comes to the Father." So in this context, the word Father is being used to refer to the God bit in the Christian Trinity of God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, God the Parent, all parent, God the Son, the Child, and the Spirit, 3 in 1 and 1 in 3. A bit like my shower gel. I may take my shower gel in on Trinity Sunday and just leave it on the lectern or the pulpit as a sort of Trinity Sunday sermon. Bye-bye. Anyway, actually, the more I think about it, that doesn't work. Anyway, so yes. If Father is an unhelpful term for you, I completely appreciate that. And, it's that, that figure, more loving, more powerful, yet more gentle, more welcoming, more gracious, more forgiving, more merciful than we could possibly imagine. Whatever term is helpful for you to kind of begin to comprehend that, feel free to insert that there. But in this translation, it says the word Father. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him, and you have seen him. So I guess Jesus saying that actually through the life and the ministry of Jesus and the stuff he said, the people he hung out with, the people he welcomed, the people he made a point of seeking out when the rest of society didn't, the stuff he challenged in terms of corrupt religious and civic leadership and structures, and hanging out with people and having food, and loving a party so much that he helpfully turned, when they running out of wine, turned water into more wine, and decent wine. So yeah, it's somebody who wants and enjoys all good things, and relationship and being with people, especially those whom society has seen as other or in some way unworthy or oppressed. So I guess, yeah, we see the ultimate divine in the story, the example, the ministry, the life of Jesus. Philip, one of his other followers, said, "Lord, show us this Father and we will be satisfied." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me?" So this idea that if we kind of if you're in a relationship with somebody who there's an intimacy and a connectivity, and so kind of to know one is to know the other, and all that Jesus is because of what God parent is, and vice versa, and therefore, if you experience Jesus, then you experience the full divine other God. The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me, he does his works. Believe me that I am the Father and the Father is in me. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. But if you do not, then believe in me because of the works themselves. Very truly, I tell you. So again, a bit like Thomas wanting some evidence, and people had seen Jesus do, according to the stories, some amazing stuff. People being fed when there wasn't enough to go around, thousands of people. Like some sort of miracle of, I don't know, food sharing or food production out of seemingly nothing, at Vakken or something, between while waiting for the headliner, everyone gets a bit peckish and everyone realizes, no, we're in such a rush to get on the front, we've got our sandwiches. Oh no. And somebody goes, I've got a hot dog. And Jesus goes, fear not, I shall make this hot dog enough for everybody, all thousands of you. All this stuff, that surely, I think Jesus is saying, is all the stuff that I have done and said, is that not enough for you to believe? And maybe you've had your own experience of that, something you can't quite explain, and maybe in that space is God as well. Very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I'm going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask for anything, I will do it. So this is kind of Jesus commissioning, setting up. They've got the sort of empty tomb, and Jesus points to the fact that it ain't gonna be around forever. A bit like if you've been having guitar or drum or bass lessons or whatever, or vocal lessons, and it's that first time that you need to step out onto that stage on your own. And maybe that music teacher's going, I'm here if you need me, but there comes a point where you've got to do it on your own. Maybe it's a bit like Saint Rick Allen of Dronfield, following the horrific accident where he lost his arm, learning to play drums in a completely new way, and having, I can't remember who it was it his drum tech who basically understudied, or was going to take over halfway. And I think it was Monsters of Rock with Dollington, where Rick Allen just got going and carried on. It was like he was back in a different way, having gone through some horrendous stuff, but now he was kind of doing it, and doing some amazing stuff that had never been done before. yeah, Rick Allen is Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, it's that there's a sort of an apprenticeship maybe, and eventually, the pupil becomes the master, and yeah, you learn from others, and you do likewise, and I guess you do it in your own way. And Jesus saying you do greater things than this. Perhaps it's about actually, up until now, this sharing of good news and of welcome and of challenging injustice has been focused in a very specific time and place within around Jerusalem, and sort of very specific area in the Middle East. And Jesus is kind of pointing to the people who followed him, who've had this experience, who will go and tell others and carry on that work of welcome and of offering wholeness and justice and all those things, facing rejection, but keeping doing it anyway for the sake of love. So actually this story, this message of hope goes beyond just this specific time and place and this group of people who happen to live there, to people outside of Jewish faith, outside of kind of the Greco-Roman world, to across the globe. And yeah, but actually this is for all people. And yeah, I guess linked to that, so the last here in Johnfield on a Wednesday night at 7:30 till 9 at the George and Dragon in Holmesfield. We're doing a thing called On Tap. So it's just literally a small group of people who are people of the Christian faith talking about some of the questions that people might have and asking people in the pub for their questions. Yeah, and it was interesting just hearing from some people their view, their misconception. Not to say it's down to them, that's often the way that Christians have behaved that have led to that view. And I think we need to own that, and seek to do better, in terms of representing Jesus. Yeah, but well, this story, this message isn't for these people or for me, or because of whether it's sexuality, whether it's one of the values that you hold or something, but actually that isn't the case. That is not the case. And so trying to kind of enable people to hear that actually this is this God business, this God, whoever and whatever the divine truly is, and maybe until we meet it face to face, we don't truly know, and perhaps that's why it's called faith, but that it is genuinely for all. And how that message is done. So, evening retro. Hope you're all right. So that's me whiffly waffling on about, I guess, Jesus getting prepared to leave the people who've been following and apprenticing and saying, stabilize us off, guys. No backing tracks in this gig. It's live performance and it's on you, but you are ready. You are ready because I have trained you. And I am with you in spirit, spirit of radio. I guess maybe at the minute, this thing about no one comes to the Father except through me, I think has been used in quite a narrow way for some people, that it means, unless you absolutely sign up to the creeds and doctrines of a particular group of people, then you haven't really met this Jesus bloke, and therefore you are not really in this or part of this. And I guess for me, it's like, well, people of other faiths, are we saying that everyone has to, be of the same faith in order to, if whatever heaven is, to experience that? I don't know. I think because we're human beings and we grow up in a time and place, just like that story was, Jesus was first experienced in a specific time and place within a specific culture. If I was born in a different place, would I be sat here doing, metal Islam? I don't know. I mean, I know certain types of metal have been pronounced as not compatible with Islamic faith. But again, it's just, for me, if the story is about going to the places that people didn't want to go, hanging out with the people that the rest of the people didn't want to hang out with, and saying, I see something in you. You are awesome. You are of value because you are. Then that is about grace to me. And so I think, yeah, in whatever way, and maybe in mysterious ways, that, you know, we might not know or have the word Jesus, but maybe Jesus still knows us. Yeah, you know, because you can meet some people of faith who are pretty grim, and you can meet some people who would never want to be people of faith or profess that or get involved in that. But actually, you're going, man, you're an amazing human being. You're an amazing human being. And I just think the heart of the story is about love and grace. And so grace is big enough for everybody. And it's a tiny little word. You know, there's some big theological words like soteriology, or, you know, I actually can't think of any big theological words, never mind. Or atonement. So there's some huge concepts that are kind of mind-blowing in terms of accounting for suffering, or Christology, understanding how this person called Jesus, according to Christian creed, is not just a human being, but is also the Son of God, but is also fully divine and fully human. You know, a Trinitarian theology that God is the Father, Parent, Son, and Spirit, but God isn't just this or just that, but God is all of that. But each one is slightly different, but the same. Yeah. And yet, in the midst of all of it, at the heart of it, in terms of somebody willing to lay down their life in the faith that it would have a difference to other people, that is about love and grace. And it's a tiny word, but it's the biggest concept of all, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to our rational human understanding. Why would you do that for somebody else? And so it's the most beautiful concept, and I think therefore it's at the heart of that story as well, that we can do these things and continue those acts of love and kindness and welcome and peace and challenge to injustice and oppression because of a relationship with Jesus, who is somehow mysteriously, you know, the divine, you know, that universal force of love. Just catching up, Betrayal. Last 12 months have been heavy. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's been tough, and yeah, I'm so glad that house is continuing to be a positive thing. Yes, yeah, cutting hedges. I went out in the garden today with the tortoise, and I think the tortoise quite enjoyed it because it thought it was in some sort of mad jungle, because I'm looking at the grass going, that's going to be not be fun. And there's the biggest thistle I have ever seen that's starting to take over. So yeah. And then it buckets it down, and then it's super hot. And then it's, yeah, trying to time it right is, yeah. Cool. So no, I like it. Finish the task, have a reward inside. Skål for later. Enjoy. Well earned. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Having a place that feels safe, and you don't have to worry, and you can feel secure. And yeah, and it's yours, and you can be fully yourself in that space. This is awesome. That's wonderful. I'm really pleased for you. That's made my soul sing. That's lovely. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. Is there stuff, I guess, beyond ourselves that we want to bring as an offering? You know, as yeah, yeah. It's yeah. You know, fighting the good fight in the face of the stuff that seeks to bring you down, that seeks to tell you can't belong, that seeks to tell you you're wrong, or you're weird, or this isn't for you, go away. Yeah, standing together. No, we are here. Yeah. yeah, is there stuff that we want to kind of just acknowledge and offer our hopes and concerns about for for others and for creation or the natural world? An invitation to do that now. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we talked about it before, but like, yeah, Clansman for me on Virtual 11, absolutely. Yeah, and that, and even the loneliness of the long distance runner of just, you know, on and on, but keep going on and on, and that head down. I don't know, people won't believe this, but at a time within maybe the last 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, just over, I didn't just run for an ice cream van. I used to kind of manage to do the catch 5K thing. And there was a time when my most enjoyable experiences were on, you know, a long run for me, which is like an hour, 2 hours. You know, after about a year of kind of building up to that, and I kind of, weirdly, it was. I got into the place where like the album Death Magnetic, just some of the, you know, broken, beaten, scarred, but you know, but show your scars. Some of the words and the music just really helped get in that place, in that rhythm, and that sense of keeping going on and going. Well, I did that in that running experience with that soundtrack. Can I take some of that into, you know, daily life when it feels like it's all going south of heaven? Quick Slayer reference. You know, and yeah, it's those things, and again, sharing these songs, you know, like you're doing retro, you know, putting people in touch with stuff that's fed us and helped us, and sharing that encourages each other, and maybe we find the thing that helps us in the right, you know, the right thing at the right time, and maybe we never get to find out that we've done that for somebody, but you know, I think you do. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, like, you know, there are that is such a theological statement as well, because, like, you know, I kind of, as I guess many of us have done, perhaps we've engaged in lifestyles that are not the best for our mental or physical health or well-being, and there can be an impact for that. But you know, I guess with faith point of view, you know, let's be honest, I don't know what happens next, if anything happens at all. I've got my beliefs, my hopes, based on, you know, for me, you know, the story in the Bible and the Christian faith. But I don't know, unless I come back and haunt somebody and go, it's all good. But you know, yeah, I still think trying to live in a way that tries and has some sort of positive impact, that tries to stand for stuff that you believe in. So for me, that's about, you know, hope and love and welcome and justice and peace, and that's and challenging oppression and injustice, including at a kind of institutional and societal level. That's the Jesus that I see. I know others will disagree with that and have a different view and interpretation, and, you know, respect to you. Yeah, and so, you know, when the time comes, it's all good, because we've tried to live with integrity and congruity within ourselves and what we believe. I don't know what else you can do, because, you know, all the stuff, you can't take it with you. You know, so yeah, you know, maybe those lives that we touch for the long, you know, seeking for the right reasons and wanting to be a blessing to other people, that is part of life in all its fullness, and maybe it is part of eternal life and the way in which we come to the all-parent. So I invite us to, I'm just going to say as well, Retro, I have tried repeatedly to go back to that album, just get over it and just kind of, but man, I want to take that snare drum I would take that snare drum and put it somewhere. I mean, I don't know if people have seen the documentary of the making of that album. It's utterly fascinating and way better than the album. Just in terms of a window of, what we've been talking about, in terms of a group of people going through some pretty existential crises, dealing with grief that perhaps they've not dealt with until that point, really, and relationship breakdowns and self and ego and ways in which we use things in order to cope and deal with all of that. I mean, fair play to Metallica for putting that out, having the vulnerability to do that, but that is much more interesting. I think I learned a lot more from watching that than trying to make my ears cope with the snare drum on that album. I don't know. I really hope one day that I really hope one day that they re-record, a bit like Def Leppard did, I think, when they were coming to the end of the relationship with Universal Records, and so they ended up re-recording some of their biggest hits and putting them out onto. It was the first time that Def Leppard put out on streaming platforms, I think, to basically circumnavigate, because by some weird reason didn't have rights to their own stuff, so they just like re-recorded their own thing. Then it was a new recording and a cover of their own music as themselves. But whether to re-record and Justice for All, either with Jason turned up or even to re-record it with Rob, and equally to, because there's some good riffs on Saint Anger. But it'd be really interesting to hear some sort of remixed, mastered version of that at some point, and maybe it pops in a way it hadn't done before. I don't know. So thank you for sharing. Let's make our offering for this evening. This popped up in my feed the other day with, I can't remember who was listening to it, but it was I think I saw Jason's isolated bass channel and mix on its own, and you're like, whoa! And the same for some isolated stuff with Dave Ellison from Megadeth, formerly of Megadeth, now defunct Megadeth. That's genuine. And you go, whoa, what? How many notes? How fast? And as a bass player, well, as someone who attempts to play the bass, and I just like low end, and I always have done. It's always, you feel it here, and does something to me. It's an amazing thing to listen to. You're right. If people haven't found it, get on YouTube, particularly. It won't be on TikTok as well, but look for Jason Justice for All bass, and there are some versions that can just make that pop. Cool. Let's make our offering for this day to the Hall Parent.
To the one in whom all people and all creation have their being, may your kingdom come, your will be done, as above, so below. Sustain us for this day. Show us grace as we seek to show grace to those we feel have wronged us. Save us from the worst that is within us and within this world. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
Now, I know it's tradition to have a bit of a sway with me, Metal Compliment, but it's a very summery evening. Retro is charging the batteries. I'm going to go out there and give that head what for, followed by a rewarding ale. So I'll go with something more upbeat, just to affirm each of us as awesomely, wonderfully, and fearfully made, and celebrate the small wins. Thank you for being you and for being in the world, and honestly, genuinely, thank God for who you are. And my biggest prayer is that you find ways of celebrating who you are. Because I think that's what God does. I think God celebrates you. Whatever anybody else says, it ain't the truth. When it's negative and putting you down, it's their narrative, their story, their issues. This is what I believe is the truth about you. Go well. Well, it had worked if I pressed the button. We're trying it again. Go well.
One night of the highest king, oh, will welcome me. I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. The sun sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. Oh, his grace runs deep. While I was still a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, and yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Who the Son